This is all about, as I said, building a low stress, low maintenance, highly scalable, and high leverage, high profitable business or a business model. So, the big idea is this: a business should feel like freedom, not a trap, because stress is a sign of low leverage. That's it, right? A business only scales when it is designed to take the weight of your soldiers instead of piling more on you, right? And that comes down to building a low stress and high leverage business or a business model where your effort creates the results far bigger than the energy, the efforts you put inside your business, right? Think about it. Do you want to keep running faster on the same hamster wheel, like DMing all day to strangers, the leads, the prospects, booking the calls, jumping on the sales calls every day, every night, right? Or do you want to design a business that runs with you instead of on you? So, this is why today I'll break down what it actually took and what it actually looks like to shift into a high leverage business model. So, before that, a quick story how I escaped the hustle culture, where it all started, what hit me to take that shift. So, let me take you back to when it started. Just maybe a year or 13 to 14 months, my life was nothing but a total chaos. I started my coaching journey way back, I think 2.5 or 3 years ago. But slowly, maybe a year and a half ago, my calendar was full from morning till night because, if you had looked at my calendar, you'd think I was some big CEO because meetings were stacked on top of meetings and there was blue block everywhere. There was no time I could take off for my family, for my kid, or for anything, right? Because in one week I would spend almost 6 to 8 hours a day only on sales calls. This was the thing. And apart from that, there was engaging on social medias, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. And all those things involves booking up, following up with the people, DMing every day to 50 to 100 peoples. And that was the biggest mistake, I would say, because that was a lot of chaos. You can imagine if you're doing the same thing, right? In one week I would spend 6 to 8 hours on a sales calls, right? And on top of that, I was running my e-commerce agency as well and a coaching program at the same time. My wife was there to help me with the e-commerce agency, but yeah, she needs my help inside that because she was new to this business. And so that way we were running both an e-commerce agency and a coaching program at the same time. At first I thought this was what success looked like. You have a busy calendar, you're working long hours, there is no free time for anything, you are focused, people need you for to help them. And yes, it felt motivated. It made me feel like I was doing something important, something successful, something profitable. But slowly it started eating me from inside. I want to tell you that one morning I woke up with my heart pounding so hard. I felt like it was going to jump out of my chest. I thought something was seriously wrong. So I went to doctor. I was nervous and I was scared. And at that time, my daughter was just born, maybe a month or so. And this happened. She was in my lap and she was crying. And at the same time, my heart was pounding and I was so worried about that. So I went to doctor, nervous and scared, and the doctor told me it's not about the hurt, it's about the stress. It's not the hurt problem, it's just a stress. And that moment shook me because that was unpredictable, and it's something else. I remember like sitting there thinking, like, if I continue to do like this, if I continue to work like this, where does it end? In a hospital bed? Maybe I will be burned out doing the same thing again and again and regretting that I never lived my life outside of the work anywhere. That was my wake up call. That's how all changed. Thankfully, my health was not in an immediate danger, but it was a warning sign. And it was a loud warning sign. It forced me to stop and ask, what am I even doing? because I realized I had built my whole life around work. Since the age of 20, I'm working. And this is how I built my whole life around work. Because every time work came before my health, before my family, before my peace of mind, before my friends, and everything. When my daughter was born, that was the time I started thinking about it. Because earlier, in this 10 to 15 years of my working journey, I said yes to everything, even in the coaching journey as well. New projects, more clients, more calls, more DMs. I said yes to everything. But somewhere deep down, I was scared to say no. And this fear didn't just came from business or the coaching journey. It actually came from my upbringing. Because I grew up with the belief that if you say no, you will miss out on the things. That if you slow down, the opportunities that are coming towards you will pass by. And if you don't keep pushing yourself, you will be left aside or you will be left behind, right? But by saying yes to everything, I was actually saying no to myself. That's when I made a decision that everything had to change. My health, my well being had to come first. Because what's the point of earning if you're too exhausted or sick to enjoy your life? So here's the question I asked myself: how can I build a business that don't depend on me working all day, every day, trading time for money? And this single question opened the doors to a whole new way of building a business that was based on leverage, not hustle. Because I believe that hustle is just stress wearing a productivity mask. And this is where the leverage comes in. A business designed on leverage totally feels different, where you actually wake up without that pit in your stomach or the pain in your chest. You have time to think, you have time to create, you have time to serve, you have time to actually enjoy the work and your life. And actually, this is where the clients show up because of the assets that you have built, the systems that you have built, not because you are chasing them down, right? So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I made that switch, and you will see that how to trade the chaos of hustle for the calm of business that scales without stealing your sanity. So when I look back, this was the real shift, right? Up until then, I thought business meant working harder, more hours, more calls, more clients, more prospects, more strangers, more followers, more views, more likes, everything more. But no matter how hard I worked, it felt like I was always running to stay in the same place. Because every month you have to start from the beginning, right? That's what I was feeling. And then one day I stumbled upon an idea. I had read that idea again and again and again from the Almanac of Neville Ravikant. The word is leverage. And Neville said something that stuck with me. That is, you're never going to get rich by renting your own time. You're never going to get rich by renting your own time. And it hit me. That's exactly what I was doing, right? Renting out my hours. And once the hours ran out, so did my growth. I was stuck. I was overwhelmed. It was a total burnout. And the leverage. This is how Neville introduced me to the leverage. I totally understand what leverage is. And I understand that the leverage is the one thing that can take me way out of this. And what do you mean by leverage? It means creating systems and assets that kept working even when I wasn't, or even when I don't have to. It means shifting from being a doer to a designer of your life, of your business, right? So instead of asking, what task should I complete today? I started asking, what can I build today that keeps paying me tomorrow? And for me, these were these three things: leverage my knowledge, get paid for thinking, not just doing, and build something evergreen. Leverage my knowledge. Everything I had learned from building businesses and coaching or consulting, That was not just for me. It could be turned into a product. It could be turned into workshops or a content that kept teaching long after I quit or long after I didn't work or I went to a vacation. But it should still work for people and make me more money. Second was get paid for thinking, not just doing. Now, people actually don't pay for the most of your effort or the sweat, right? They pay for the clarity, they pay for the transformation that you deliver them. The right idea, the right strategy, the right guidance can change someone's path. And that's where the real value is. And that is where the real value is created. So get paid for thinking, not just doing. The third is build something evergreen, not just a one thing or one off sprint, not a project that dies once it's done, something that could scale without you. And you don't need to constantly feed it with your time and energy. And when I got to know this, that was my turning point. I stopped thinking like an overworked freelancer and started thinking like a creator. Because the truth is, hustle will always cap you, but leverage will compound. So, I'll give you the step by step thing, how it turned for me. So, first of all, turning liabilities into assets. The first shift I made was simple but powerful. I started looking at my business differently. For 2 years, I had been running workshops, meetings, master classes, and at the time they felt like a liability. They drained my energy, they ate up my calendar too, and left me feeling like I was always on. I have to be always online. But then I realized I was sitting on a gold mine, a total gold mine. Every one of those sessions was recorded. Those hours of knowledge, those frameworks, those strategies just was collecting dust on my hard drive. What I once thought was a burden was actually a raw material for leverage. So I repurposed them. That's what the biggest thing. I turned those recordings into digital products, into courses, into resources, into training modules. And suddenly, the same work I had already done once could keep creating value over and over again. And that's how the foundation of all the entire client creator model was built. Instead of chasing new calls every day, I created assets that worked in the background. They were attracting, they were teaching, they were converting clients without me being glued to my laptop, without being stuck into my Zoom all the time. And what felt like a liability, that turned into one of my biggest assets. And this is it, the client creator model. Second was building the client creator model. So once I had those assets in place, I actually needed a system that could bring in clients for me every single month, every single week. And that too without chasing for them. And this is the whole idea of the asset bytes inside the school community. You can see the asset bytes was born, and then the client created model was born from it. It is not complicated. In fact, it is designed to be simple. But simple doesn't mean weak, right? This framework works because it attacks the real problem most businesses face: refining the offer, creating an evergreen asset, and automating the sales process. This is the biggest problem, I think, in the coaching and consulting world. All right. So, what about refining the offer? Here's what I discovered: most entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants don't actually have a sales or marketing problem, they have an offer problem first. Think about it. If your product or service isn't compelling enough, no amount of ads, no amount of funnels or DMs will save you. The message doesn't cut through, and people simply don't care about it. So I started a workshop focused entirely on fixing the offer. So my hypothesis was this: if your offer is strong, the sales and marketing becomes secondary, as simple as that. So I shared this workshop with my email list and my community, and the response was great. People were just not interested, but they were relieved because they had a total clarity on what the offer is, right? Then creating an evergreen asset. I took that workshop, the offer thing, and packaged it into something evergreen as a product that didn't expire. Okay. And that became the offer genesis. So if you see in our school community, the first thing that you need to start is this: the offer genesis. This is crafting your Google Doc offer, creating your offer, right? That became the offer genesis. It includes all the templates, the resources, the swipe files, my personal Google Doc offers, and a step by step guide that anyone could follow. So instead of giving away free value that disappeared after one live session, I created an asset that could serve people 24 by 7. And I just priced it at $100 as a front end offer. It is totally accessible, valuable, and a perfect first step for anyone to come into my world. Right? That's how I create customers. So the first thing what I did, I refining offer was an issue. So I refined an offer, created a workshop on it, gathered all my past resources, created a workshop of it, and made it a evergreen asset and put inside it and created a payment page with $100 payment. $100 lifetime access for you to the recordings, the templates, the swipe files, and all. It is accessible for everyone, right? Once I created this, the final piece was automation. How I can automate this, how I can sell this asset. So it doesn't need me. It doesn't need me to send hundreds of DMs to people or booking sales call to sell this. All right. So the final piece was automation. And I didn't want to spend all day booking sales call and explaining the same thing over and over again on the sales call to everyone. So I built a simple system. So I have an email sequence, a welcome email sequence that every new subscriber receives once they opt in into my email list. And I have a timed offer for $100 product within 72 hours. So once they join my opt-in page, they became a subscriber of my email list or my newsletter, and within 72 hours they get an email with an offer of $100 product, and that is the same workshop offer, right? And then they get a series of follow-up emails that guided buyers naturally turned into the highest ticket coaching clients. That's how it all works, right? We created a workshop as an evergreen asset, priced it $100, right? Then we, the people who are into my email list, I promote my email list to my socials, that is Facebook or LinkedIn. That's how I grab people from my email list. And once they join, within 72 hours, they'll get an email of soft pitching me this product, the $100 workshop. And that's how once they bought that $100 product, they will slowly be upgraded, or they naturally will be directed towards my highest ticket coaching programs. You don't need pushy tactics, no endless chasing, just a clean system that took people from strangers to customers and customers to clients. That's how it all works. This is the predictable flow. And based on this, the entire client created model is built. Now, there are more things inside the client created model, not just whatever I said right now. This is how it was taken birth. It's how it was started. Now, there are many ways to that. More simplicity is there now as compared to the last 1 year or 7 months, right? I'm just telling you how it all started. All right. This is how it all started, from a one asset, one workshop, to the email list, and to converting them into high ticket coaching clients. And this, when this happened, that's when things started to clicking around me. For the first time, I was not hustling for every sale. The system was working in the background while I was focused on creating and coaching and serving my clients. Right? Then the main part. How should I skip the sales call? Because it used to take me so many hours. Step three, scaling without sales calls. And this was the game changer for me. So when I started, sales call ate my entire week, my entire days, my life, my memories that I could have built. 8 hours of back to back Zoom meetings, repeating the same page, answering the same objections, and burning through my energy. But as I leaned deeper into leverage, something amazing happened. My calendar started to clear up. 8 hours of sales calls a week became 4 hours, then 2 hours, and eventually now it's totally zero. I don't take sales calls now. No more endless convince and close conversations right now. No more trading for time for every client or every one. And this shift actually changed me. With all those long hours back, I could finally focus on what actually mattered, serving my clients at a higher level, improving my programs, improving my assets, building new assets that scaled without me. That's when my business turned into what I wanted to all along, a high leverage business model, right? Low stress, low maintenance, highly scalable, highly profitable, high leveraged business model. That's what leverage is all about, right? Instead of chasing clients, the system and the assets I built kept bringing them in. And the best part is, I got my time and energy back without losing my revenue, without losing my profits. So here's the framework in action, the simple framework over here. Let me simplify. This is how the first draft of client created model actually look like in practice. So attract leads. So we use content to pull people into our world. In my case, I leaned on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and pull them towards my email list. For emails, I use kit.com to grow my email list. That's how we attract leads. We get leads into our email list. That's our number one priority. We don't sell or don't pitch or don't, promote anything on social media. We do this inside our email list. And inside our email list, we deliver insights. So every new subscriber who opts into my email list enters a welcome sequence, then a series of emails that show my expertise, build trust, and just directs them towards a customer offer, that is the workshop or any kind of assets. That's a low cost ticket. Maybe it's $1, maybe it's $100, doesn't matter, but its price is $47 until $100, some sort of that. So you don't require hard selling. Okay, you just share insights and slowly you make an offer, right? Then, as I said, we every new subscriber who opts into my email list gets a welcome sequence and a series of emails that shows my expertise and build trust. So we don't sell, and just insights. Then inside that email we make an offer. So within 72 hours of them joining, after the welcome sequence, I present a low ticket product like the $100 offer Genesis workshop, because it's specific, it solves a real problem about the offer, and it helps people move forward immediately, right? And once they've bought that, we upsell them strategically. Once someone buys that workshops, they enter a nurturing sequence. That's where I guide them to the higher value services or products. And this happens without pushiness, without aggressive sales tactics. And that's the whole engine, you can see. Simple, predictable, repeatable, profitable, high leverage business model. That was the first draft of the client creator model. Attract leads, bring them to your email list, deliver insights, and at the end, maybe a single line or the so, without aggressiveness, just you give them nuggets or direct towards your offer. So you make an offer there, and once someone buys, you upsell them your high ticket coaching programs strategically, right? That's what everything started all about the client creator model, right? So the results was great. Freedom through leverage. Yeah, the main important thing, freedom. So I told you how I went from being a constantly overwhelmed to running a businesses that actually worked for me instead of running other way around. And this is how clients started coming to me effortlessly through automated systems. So I reclaimed my time, my health, my family. I eliminated unnecessary stress. And most importantly, I built a business that was aligned with my real priorities, my values, and my beliefs. So I no longer wake up with that feeling of like I have to push harder today to keep things up. I have to show up today to be consistent. The consistent word, right? So instead of these things, the system does heavy lifting for me, and I can focus on creating, serving, and living my life to its fullest. Lesson: you are replaceable. Sorry, you are irreplaceable. That is what I want you to take away from this. All right. So in our professional roles, we are all replaceable. Somebody can do the job, right? Somebody else can do the job. Somebody can close the client. Somebody can run the meetings. But in life, as a son, as a daughter, as a spouse, as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, as a friend, as a father, as a mother, you are irreplaceable. If you burn yourself out chasing hustle every time, the people who love most, right? The people who love you most are the ones who will pay the price, not you. and no amount of money or success can ever buy back that time. So if you feel stuck in the hustle world, the hustle culture right now, take a step back. You need to leverage your strengths. You need to build systems. You need to create evergreen assets. And most of all, you need to remember what actually matters, what truly matters. So this is the thing that I want to share you at the last. Freedom isn't just about money. It's about having the space to show up fully in the roles that make you who you are. So this was it. This is what I wanted to share with you. The first draft, how it all started about the client creator model. And this means all about how we create an low stress, low maintenance, highly profitable, scalable, and a high leverage business model.